$500,000, not knowing what exactly that payment was gonna look like. So I had already kind of budgeted 500,000 originally. But in doing so, we still had $373,490 that was a deficit budget. So our revenues were less than what our budget was going to be. And so this budget amendment is going to cover all of our needs, one, and two, some wants. And so it's a great thing. So you will see a bunch of account codes that you're going to be like, I don't even know what that is, and that's okay. But you can see what the description is for all of the ones where there are monies being allocated for. A lot of the money's being allocated for salaries. We don't know exactly yet what that's going to look like, but it's there if and when those decisions are made that maybe additional position is needed or something of that nature. The money's there. Another thing that this has helped, as I said, we adopted a deficit budget, but we have some workers' comp expenses that have kind of gone above what our normal workers' comp expense is. So you'll see some workers' comp being allocated. Another great thing that we have that we are going to be able to do is we are going to meet a lot of our technology needs. So that is a great thing. Some Chromebooks, we've allocated 50,000 for Chromebooks. So that's a great thing. There's some other things there, and I know it's a long laundry list, but if you look, scroll all the way down, second to the bottom, you'll see supplies. Under 19953 63.99. That is for our servers, Uniflow licenses, and Chromebooks. Those are lots of things that we need to make our district run more efficiently, and just to provide the licenses for our Chromebooks and those types of things. So that's a good, nice chunk of change for all of those things. Another thing that we have budgeted for are some things that we need at our south wing that we were able to leave out of the bond. So our south wing needs re-leveling. I don't know if any of you have been able to go through there, and Jason can absolutely attest to this, and so can Dwayna, but it is shifting, walls are shifting, HADOT blocks are falling out, and so.
And we just put money into redoing that a few years ago.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure, one of the things that Jason and I've talked a lot about is continuing to improve and put money in things, but also being conscientious of how we're maintaining things so that we're extending life expectancies.
Yes. And so, that's a $50,000 cost. I did budget maybe a little high, but I always think inflation, you get a bid and then inflation on top of that. So more than likely 50,000 is probably where we're going to be. But then we also have some needs where we have vehicles. Maintenance is working on with one truck. Is that correct? One truck. And so we've got a truck down. So he stated he would be able to purchase a wonderful used work truck with some funds, and we can get some equipment needs that they are needing. Also in our custodial staff, some equipment that will make their life easier with some automated equipment. And so other than that, it's just things that we needed to kind of fill into our, I missed another big one, buses. 2 buses for sure.
Some of those things that we were said maybe we try to get out of using bond money for this.
So anyway, like I said, it is a long list, but it's lots of curriculum needs. We've got money plugged in for curriculum.
Professional learning, technology.
Yes.
Upgrades.
Yes. And unfortunately, I have to spell it out to be transparent, and so that's why you see all of the lines.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So if you don't have any questions, or if you have questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
The buses, do they come with the camera equipment already, or we have to pay on top of that?
That is really a Jason question, but I think that is something that we would probably include in our specs when we go.
Well, and I know
over
one
it.
of the things that Jason and I talked about is like a 6-point system. You know, kind of, as we continue making sure that we have the 6-point system.
The 1.8 was the original 800 to balance, and then 988's left. But then everything that's listed is 1.3.
Yes, right.
Just
And
take off the 500 that she's already budgeted, and that's the remainder of it.
so you'll see there's a balancing code, the 3700. That's a balance, fund balance code. So where the deficit was, I am now able to take that deficit out. So you see the 373,490.
Yes.
So that's why it's all coming to 1,361,000, because it's just a balancing. It's for my purpose to show how I'm balancing the books.
So all that adds to 1.361. Then you add the 373. That gets you back up to the.
Well, if you add the 373 plus the 988, 343, that gets you to the 1,361, and then you add the 500,000 that's already in the original budget. That meets the 1,861.
Okay.
Thank
I
you,
know
Tracy.
it's a little confusing. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you, Tracy, for the work and the transparency.
Thank you.
In the colors.
I think that's for me too.
Yeah, and that
I
make a
like the
difference.
color coding.
Yes.
I have to give kudos to Cheyenne. I asked her to make it pretty, and she did.
Teamwork.
It is.
Very good. Thank you, Tracy.
If there's no more discussion, we'll now consider a motion.
Also move.
Motion by Mrs. Fox. Second. Second by Mr. Mark. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. 7-0.
All right, now to the fun stuff. So Dan and Miss Mesa, I can never say your name right, the first name right, so I just say Miss Mesa. They are here with Estrada to present some financial information for our district, answer any questions that you have. And this is in relation to the consideration of possible adoption for the bond election to be held on May 3rd. So I have y'all's presentation up here. You just look at me, give me like the side eye, and that's when I will scroll down.
Perfect. Well, good evening, everyone. For anyone that doesn't know me, for those of you at home and anybody on the board that doesn't recognize me, my name is Dan Mahoney. I'm the Vice President with Estrada Hinojosa, the district's longtime financial advisor. So this presentation should look really familiar to everybody on the board because you saw it a couple weeks ago. We have made a lot of really big changes that are going to be hard to digest. There are 4 in total. We've already scrolled right past one of them. We changed the date on the cover. That was big change number 1. This is an overview of the total project that we have seen proposed by the committee. It's broken down into 2 propositions, $29.8 million for Proposition A, $1.8 million for Proposition B, a total of $31 million in change. Par amounts are a little bit less than what's being proposed. That's just a dynamic of where interest rates are. We reasonably expect that we'll sell premium bonds, which will generate more in proceeds than the amount we have to sell. It all kind of works out that funny math. Need less par than you do for projects. It's good news, good for the district, good for the voting public, good for taxpayers. Next slide, please. This one is where we made all of the big changes. You'll see 3 changes in total from the last time you saw this proposition or this presentation. Change number 1 and 2, if you look under where it says Proposition A and B respectively, you'll see the word only underneath that. Those are changes 1 and 2 on this page. The only change I really wanted to make in doing that is to be clear that the information that is in the column for Proposition A and the information that is in the column for Proposition B represent if only that proposition passes. So if you look particularly at Proposition B, you'll see a lot of negative numbers. And the reason for that is if Proposition B carries, but Proposition A does not, we would see a decline in the district's tax rate because there would no longer be a need for such a high rate of taxation based on only Proposition B. Proposition A, you'll notice that it is in the fourth decimal place, or fifth, if I'm counting fourth decimal place, what is that, a 5,000th of a nickel, I guess?
10,000.
10,000th of a nickel. So what it really boils down to, and this is the big third change, you'll see that one line is highlighted yellow. That is simply to really highlight what I think is most important to everybody here on the board and everybody watching at home. What is the impact to the taxpayer? We've been talking about trying to do this without a tax rate increase. It's been long the proposition of the board, the district in general, and what we want to say is that it's going to be a very, very, very small increase. How small? If Proposition A carries by itself and Proposition B does not carry, the average taxpayer in the district of a $250,000 homestead, factoring in a $100,000 homestead exemption, would pay 73 cents more a year. That is the annual figure. When we say the tax rate is staying the same, we want to do it as close to the same as possible. So Proposition A, 73 cents more than what you're paying this year. The reason for this change, after talking for a long time about doing an absolutely no tax rate increase, is frankly, as the planning committee got together and we were looking at the different things that the district would want, the district needs, and everything, we frankly upsized the bond just a little bit from where we were looking at it last summer when we started planning and saying, no tax increase, no tax increase. So what does that mean? Again, 73 cents a year. What does it mean if both propositions carry, which is the big number everyone's paying attention to? It would be a $33 a year increase. So what does that mean a month? That's $12. That is the difference in what you would pay on a $250,000 homestead, assuming a $100,000 homestead exemption. So again, very small increase, very much in the line of where we've been trying to say, we're going to do this, we're going to do it right, we're going to do it for the district. I could play with the numbers that we were in here and potentially bring it down so we'd actually see a decrease, but frankly, I believe in conservatism. Interest rates have been moving against us. Just yesterday alone, we saw a 10 basis point or 0.1% increase in interest rates across the board. That's just what's going on in the economy, talks of tariffs, trade wars, wars in the Middle East, wars in Europe. These things have an effect on our economy and they have an effect on interest rates. And so we're looking at this as conservatively as possible. Do we think our actual results will be better? I really hope so. We're building in cushion, but this is what we think is a reasonable, what is this going to look like in 6 months when we sell bonds? Assuming that the district calls the bond election and assuming that the district passes the bond election. So this is really the big page that I wanted to show everyone. Like I said, 3 big changes. We added the word only twice and we highlighted it in yellow. This is still the same presentation you were looking at a couple weeks ago. The next several pages down are just a more detailed look at all of the math behind it. But this is just showing you what it looks like to pass a bond, what the bond interest rates are on an individual basis, each year that we would put interest and principal in, and then the total schedule. Any questions from anybody?
Thank you.
Very happy to answer any questions if they come up. Thank you.
Thank you. All right,
That is.
that's it. So,
Yes.
and I think y'all have the language.
Yeah, actually, I say it. We've had a discussion, is there a motion?
I move that the board adopt an order calling the bond election with Proposition A in the amount of $29,850,000, Proposition B in the amount of $1,865,000.
A motion has been made by Mr. Green. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Mejia. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
All right, so now I think the reason why a bunch of our big crowd is here, we get to move on to the personnel things, so.
Yep.
You good for me to talk, or?
Yeah, you go ahead and talk.
You know, I like to talk a little bit. So, we have a couple of really special people here tonight, so I'm gonna start with, Dr. Von Stosh. She, I guess I'm gonna start with the process a little bit. We were very, intentional about how we went through the process of choosing a principal. We posted and put a group together, surveyed the teachers, surveyed the community, surveyed our staff, talked to lots of parents and said, what do you want to see in your next principal? And so they came up with this laundry list of things. Amanda and Jackie and I spent all day at the elementary. We met with every team, with every teacher, and really put together a good vision board of what we want in our next principal. And I'll also be very transparent. We also said that when we go through this process, if we don't find the right one, we are not in a rush. We will wait for the right one. And Miss Esselton, who's back here, Miss Esselton was our interim. She was doing a great job. If we wouldn't have found the right one, we would have waited. And we put a committee together. I think, Amy, there were like 13 teachers on that committee. They took up, yeah, there was a whole bunch of them. And so we interviewed several candidates for the first round, brought back 2 for the second round, spent some time at the elementary, having a conversation, walking through classes, got to see Amy with kids in the natural habitat of what an elementary principal would look like, and we did. And something else I think really special is that we got to offer her the position at an Eagles basketball game. I took her outside and offered her the position during the game. And so what I'll tell you is I 100% feel like we got it right. The committee got it right. The teachers got it right. We are excited to have her here, and she is the right fit. So.
Thank you, Mrs. Brashear. Is there any discussion? Without any discussion, is there a motion? Moved by Mr. Martin. For a second,
I'll second.
second by Mrs. Fox. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. And that brings us to consideration and approval of athletic director, head football coach. Mrs. Brashear, would you like to share a little about this?
Absolutely. When we were going through the first round, and I think we had, by the time it was over, I think we had over 100 applicants. We spent a lot of time as a committee going through the applications, thinking about what our community wanted, what our coaches wanted, what our teachers wanted, what the kids wanted. Had a couple of town halls, really listened, sent out, community survey, got great feedback from the community survey. And I think I told Casey maybe the second round, I said, the athletic director, head football coach hire is probably more important than the superintendent hire. They have such a heavy lift of taking care of our kids and taking care of our community and keeping the legacy alive of Rogers. And I'll tell you, like, Casey got it. And so, one thing I'll really kind of give to Coach Bull is he has sat in during this entire process and served as a mentor to me and a leader of the hiring committee. When I asked him to be the interim, I think he turned me down a couple times. But I convinced him by saying the kids need a voice. You will be the voice of the kids, and he has been the voice of the kids. Got to spend, I think, Chad was part of the initial interview committee, and we liked Casey from the beginning. And then when we brought him back, and Coach Bull and I got to spend a lot of time with him, walking, seeing our kids. It just felt like a great fit, and we offered, and we felt like we got it right. And then he brought his family, and I'll tell you, Miss Tucker, who teaches 4th grade for us, met them and got to spend some time with them, and she's like, "Those kids are Rogers kids." And I said, "They are Rogers kids." And so we are very, very excited to recommend Casey and start, building a relationship with him and his wife Joanna and his boys. We know we got it right, and we are excited to have him here and lead us. So.
Well, thank you for the processes and doing the due diligence. Is there any discussion? No discussion. Is there a motion? Motion by Mr. Green. Second by Mr. Murray. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
And so I'm gonna stop real quick because our PTO, I know, I got to talk, our PTO has put together a couple of gifts for our new athletic director and our new elementary principal. Can we present those really quick?
Allison made it happen, so.
So Casey, come on up here. Amy, come on up here.
If y'all wanna come up to.
The whole family. It's a family affair in Rogers.
That's right.
So.
Come on.
There is shirt and candy. and
You are already a part of
Coffee mug, you can put pins in it if you don't drink coffee. But yeah, this is for the boys,
Yeah, this
there's crop charms in there, little. Yes.
And can I get a picture with y'all and them? Yeah, getting that. Allison, don't get in.
Well, you're, which way?
No, I don't need to be in it.
No, I'm saying, none of us are together.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, you gonna do like a banner?
No, I'm gonna do, no, I'm gonna do this and then this.
Oh, okay, well, we're just trying to get some context. Hey, that's a cool necklace.
All right, come on, Trace. Come on, Trace. Bradley, lean away. I mean, I didn't mean that in an ugly way. If that's in my contract.
Should I get started on that?
1, 2, 3. Very nice. All right.
Thank y'all very much.
Yes. I feel like we're gonna have each other.
Welcome to the family.
All right, here we go. Y'all ready? 1, 2. I feel old right now. 1, 2, 3. Hey, boys, thank y'all for being here.
Oh, no, thank y'all. Happy to
All right.
have you.
Welcome to
Rogers.
Thank you very much.
And y'all aren't done with the pictures, so. There will be pictures.
You know.
Oh,
Right back there. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, y'all are done with the pictures. We can come back.
Okay.
Casey, would you like to say anything?
Sure.
Surprise?
I don't know which way I need to face, but
You can stand right there. How about that? We always feel awkward. We never know.
it's truly a blessing to be here. You know, it's funny when Coach Bull talked about being a big school guy, and I'm like, that's just funny to say because all of my life I've been a small school guy, growing up in a community just like Rogers, and seeing the benefits of it and seeing all the great things that come along with it. It's just it's a God thing. I want to thank my family, my wife Joanna, and my boys, because y'all know how important it is to have a coach's wife of that mindset, of that support. I can't wait to get started. You know, we're gonna get started tomorrow morning. Like Ms. Brashear said, it was just a natural fit. You know, and we knew from the get-go that we wanted to be here. We did our homework on the place. We know people that have graduated from here, coached here, you know, taught here, all the things, and just checks all the boxes. So it's truly a blessing coming from Round Rock and having people that influence our family and just teach us, you know, what is it about? It's about kids. If we're just teaching them sports, then we failed. You know, we want to teach them how to be great young men and women. And obviously, we want to win. We want high standards. We want to be somewhere that wants to win and has kids that want that part of the experience. So it's truly a blessing. Cannot wait to get started. We have plans and, you know, to meet every single kid tomorrow and just be at the playoff game and just be ready to be in black and gold. So thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Coach. I made you go first, so you knew it was coming.
Thank y'all again for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you everyone here for support. I'm super excited about being here. My kids have been here for a couple years now. So to finally be a true part of the family, not just, you know, the mom there, I'm excited. I cannot wait. I'm very appreciative of my former principal now, Dr. Wilson.
So this is your,
This is my
Okay.
principal.
well, thank you for coming to support her tonight.
Yes, it's just
That shows
supporting
a
me
lot.
through my doctorate, through growing, through getting here. I'm super excited though to be the proud principal of Rogers Elementary. I cannot wait to serve our students and to watch them grow, as well as serving our staff, because happy staff means happy kids, and so we're going to grow Rogers Elementary to be the campus that everyone wants to be at and nobody wants to leave. And so I'm excited.
Very good. All right.
now it's time to consider and approve the superintendent contract, and we will move to closed session. This will be conducted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Subchapter D and E of the Texas Government, or the Texas Government Code, Section 418.183F. Time is, what time is it? 6:37.
And y'all will go into my office.
Oh, we don't have to kick people out of here?
But I'll close the door.
So we can be loud for the here.
I told you, you can't be yelling at Sarah back there.
We're gonna wait 6 weeks.
So she'll be here all day tomorrow, so whenever you're ready, come on over. If not, she'll take care of paperwork. Y'all, no, y'all will be happy to know we took care of all the pictures except the one with y'all. So y'all don't have to waste time.
Oh, we gotta do the other.
Yeah. My contract.
Okay, the board is now returning to open session at 6:59, and we're back and going. No final action was taken during the closed sessions. We have the consideration and approval of the superintendent contract. Is there a motion?
Well, I guess.
That's
I
fine.
move, go ahead.
Nothing.
Did you have something?
Nope.
We need to discuss further?
We do not. Go ahead.
I move to approve a one-year contract extension for Superintendent Dwayne Brashear for a term from July 1, 2025 to June 30th, 2028, including an annual base salary of $147,680, annual benefits of a phone allowance of $1,200 a year, membership dues of $800 a year, employee contributions of $5,857 a year, for a total compensation benefits package of $155,537.
Motion has been made by Mr. Mark. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Mejia. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Guys, just thank you. Thank you for the last few months. Thank you for the compensation. You know, I was telling somebody the other day, the work that we have done as a team of 8 in the past, not even year, is unmatched. You probably don't realize it because it's just who you are as humans, but you have hired a superintendent, which is not an easy task. You have adopted the balanced scorecard, used that balanced scorecard for my evaluation, which is not an easy process. You just called for a bond. You hired an elementary principal, a middle school principal, a high school principal, and now an athletic director, all who are aligned with the mission and vision of this district. Our district is blessed to have you, and I'm so thankful to be part of it. So,
But
thank y'all.
it's with your leadership, and we really appreciate the job that you've been doing.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. So now you can do the other administrative.
Yeah, next we have to consider an approval of administration contracts. Is there any discussion? I think we're good.
Yeah, that's all your directors, your principals, your
Yeah,
your
and we're
ADs,
good
yeah.
with, we had to read the motion. Where's the motion?
No, you can just do it as recommended.
All right. Is there any discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion. So move. First movement by Mr. Green,
A second.
second by Mrs. Fox. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Being there is no further business, may I have a motion?
I
to
move,
adjourn?
so moved.
That's Mr. Mark. We adjourn at 7:02.
Now, I know there's 6 men on the board and y'all hate it, but it's time for pictures. Time for pictures.